Welcome to the Gruber Morning Show. This is our EV weekly podcast. I'm Pete Gruber.
I'm Mark Schaffner. Good morning. Welcome, everybody.
And what we're going to pop up behind us here is going to be the live version of our Gruber Motor Company YouTube channel, which is where these podcasts are broadcast. And do we have that up here yet, Jesse? Got it on my screen. There we go. What you're looking at here is a number of subscribers that is getting close to 1 million.
Pretty exciting.
And at the rate that we're gaining subscribers now, it looks like this is going to cross over to 1 million within the next 24 to 48 hours. And what we're hoping is that it will cross over in the middle of the day, because our goal is to be live when it does, and then have the alumni here, the people that helped us get here.
Oh, that's a great idea.
We have been doing this now for 4 years. I look back at the old videos that we did, and it was 2020, actually. And a lot of people have poured their hearts and souls into making this number grow. And it's a combination of podcasts, videos, and just continuously creating content, tutorials for our customers. So this is, for us, a major accomplishment. We don't yet understand how the algorithms may begin to favor our channel once we do cross over 1 million, but we're thinking it would be fair if they did give us some special consideration once that happens.
I would hope so. If not, that's okay. I mean, we're putting out a good service and value to the community, and that's obviously reflected in the subscriber numbers that we have.
Mm-hmm. And what you'll see is that number will occasionally just jump. I had someone up in my office, and I had it up on the screen, and it jumped like 20 or 30 within that 10 seconds or so that she was standing there. Right now, it seems to be static. So, in fact, if any of you are watching and you haven't subscribed yet, see if you can make that number go up. It will actually increment. It looks like we've got some people chiming in now. Highlander's with us. He says, now there are 5 watching. P.S. Remember, kindness is always free, and let's not forget the sunglass commercial. Right. So again, it was really our audience. It was you folks that made this number what it is, and we are grateful. There we go. We just got one additional one, that you're there supporting this channel and that you find value with it, because we spend a lot of resources, time, and energy to create these channels. All right, so one of the first things that I wanted to pop up here was, let's get another picture here. And this is going to be a image from China. There we go. The headline is, robots begin taking human jobs at the world's biggest electric car maker. Now, did you get the last part of that sentence? Tesla is no longer the world's largest EV manufacturer.
That's right.
It is now BYD. And the rest of the headline goes something like this. Eerie robot workers are beginning to take over at the world's biggest electric car maker. Chinese motors giant BYD Auto has implemented a creepy 500-strong robotic workforce, with fears growing that the program bots could soon fill up 1 million vacant job roles.
There is so much fun stuff to unpack here. First, the name of the company making the robots is an acronym, and that acronym is called ERIE, E-E-R-I-E.
Okay.
I was not able to find out what it meant, but it's so the publication putting out the article didn't say that it's ERIE, all caps. They are using it as the word. Mm-hmm. Second, it talks about how many vacant jobs these robots are filling. They're not taking jobs from people.
Really? Okay.
If there were people for the jobs, they wouldn't be vacant.
Good point. All right.
So, I did a little bit more of a background reading on this particular one, because this seems kind of sensationalistic.
Are we saying that China has a labor shortage?
They are. In fact, we've heard for years about the aging Chinese population.
Hmm.
It's starting to become a real issue. By the end of next year, in 12 months, China is estimated to have 30 million more jobs available for people than they will have people to fill those jobs. And so these robots, which are humanoid, by the way, they're humanoid robots, they're going to be doing manual labor type things, carrying products back and forth to areas, other manual type labor tasks that they just can't find people to fulfill the jobs for. So the it's not a bad thing, honestly. And if you want to pull up that other picture, there is one other picture that lest we remind people, robots in auto manufacturing are not a new thing.
True. Good point. They just didn't look as humanoid back then. They were like swinging arms or,
Yeah, like what we see here in this picture. They're
or like
just
construction equipment, excavators with
they-
arm reaches. But I guess what makes this eerie, no pun intended, is the fact that these look like humanoid robots, which, speaks to replacement or, in this case, augmentation since they have a shortage.
yes, yes, it's definitely augmentation, and and the whole way the article is written, fears are growing
Hmm.
that the robots will fill millions of vacant job roles. 500 robots could fill million, like 500 robots could fulfill millions of jobs. Um, yeah, using the words eerie and creepy together, making the play on words. It's kind of fun to see.
So I would speculate here that it wasn't the mainstream periodicals. It might have been the tabloid type, uh, type magazines that were really creating this FUD.
I think so. Although the actual facts behind the article are definitely true facts.
Hmm.
There are humanoid robots starting to work for BYD, the world's largest automotive EV maker, and they're fulfilling an important job function there at the company.
Right. Now, someone asked, what car was that? That was Instagram, Steve-O. And it doesn't say in the article what car that humanoid robot was working on, but it would be a BYD vehicle, of course.
It would be a BYD vehicle. Now, if you take a look at the car that's behind us, though, what car is that, Pete?
Well, that's going to be the Lucid, and we've got a whole segment here about that. But it looks like Thomas Curtis is chiming in and saying, great news. And you know what, Thomas? I could not agree more. There are certain types of jobs that just simply don't interest humans, and
Yes.
they do them reluctantly. And the quality definitely is not there. Now, of course, I'm speaking in generalities. I know people that are very focused and committed to their craft, whether it's doing plumbing, a janitor, or a neuroscientist. But there are certain types of jobs that are really better suited for machines.
Well, there are. Think about if you had somebody who could be up in general between 20 and 23 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they could be carrying boxes that weigh 600 pounds a box
Yeah.
all day long, every day. Would you hire that person? Well, probably yes.
Hmm.
That's what these robots are doing in many cases.
Yeah.
They're transporting product between two different areas of the BYD manufacturing facility, and they might be picking up a powertrain and transporting it across the facility,
Sure.
or something like that.
There's an ethical consideration here as well, and I think that most employers probably grapple with this. You've got a job, for example, where you know that they're going to be unloading trucks all day long, certain amount of weight, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, you can do that for a decade and maybe get away with it, but you know that if it becomes a lifelong career, there are going to be medical issues later on in life. It's just unavoidable.
Right.
The human body is not built for that continuous strain. So here now, like you say, we have machines that not only can handle this without injury, but can also exceed the capabilities of humans.
Absolutely. And with the worker shortage, the Chinese managers in the article that I was reading about it said they're going to focus on making sure they have humans doing the jobs that only humans can do,
Mhm.
the high end engineering and design work, figuring out the processes, creating something out of nothing type of things that just no matter how advanced the AI is, you have to have that person to
Right.
be able to do. And so it's not that they're replacing people, it's that they're needing to grow and they don't have the human resources in order to be able to achieve the growth that they want.
You know, one of the side benefits of this kind of a migration now to machines that are far more efficient is productivity gains.
Absolutely.
And now we get into these future discussions of universal basic income. What happens to all this profit that now begins to swirl around having more efficient workforces, less expensive workforces? Remember, these humanoid robots cost $20,000, $30,000 one time. That's half a year's salary for most people.
Right.
It's going to be interesting how this all evolves. We've got a whole bunch of comments here. Let's get through some of them. Instagram, EC Anthem says, beyond your dreams, automation in auto industry. Yes. Yusuf Al Hassan says, very good news from Lucid today. Yes. And why don't we get into that and then read the rest?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
I'll bring up an image here. Actually, it's our backdrop. Okay, right behind me there. Guess what that is?
That looks like the Lucid Gravity. That's what an incredible picture they took too.
And it's finally announced. We've got a starting price. You may not like it. It's $94,900 with current owners getting priority for delivery. But they say that next year, this price is going to be adjusted. But yes, Lucid is finally announcing that Gravity vehicle, and it's going to go into production before the end of this year, as promised.
As promised. So the Grand Touring, which starts at $94,900, is going to be first. That'll come off the line first. The Touring model, which is kind of like the Lucid Air Pure equivalent, the lower cost one, $79,900, is going to be starting production later in 2025. Pre-orders are going to be open now in about 2 weeks. A lot of people are very excited about this. To me, Lucid's doing something that's kind of strange.
What's that?
They're following through with what they said they were going to do.
No dig intended there, is
no
there?
dig. Lucid has not been the greatest in terms of setting expectations and meeting expectations, although they have been better than most of the other EV makers in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
But this is one where they said our top level is going to be somewhere around 95,000. Our mid tier or bottom tier is going to be in the 70 to 80,000 range. And they're saying that that's it. They said early on, they've been saying for a year and a half, we're going to open up the orders in the fall of 2024. We're going to have the first deliveries by the end of 2024. It looks like they're on track to do all of that. That's good news for Lucid.
It is. Despite the fact that Lucid probably anticipated that this type of news would be a shot in the arm, for their reputation, Wall Street isn't that impressed. This morning I looked and it had broken through support again at 250. It was 246 or something like that per share.
Yeah.
So anyway, the market is just going to have to, assimilate this and understand that there is this actually has some positive overtones.
It does. Bank of America analysts have Lucid as a neutral, as a hold or a neutral, but they also say at the same time, Lucid is one stock of all of the EV stocks that has potentially the most positive outlook of all of them. They keep it at neutral because they say there's still a lot of investment, a lot of runway before Lucid becomes profitable, but they like what they see. I went to a site called invez.com. It's an investor site. And they actually said, had quoted Peter Rawlinson as saying that he expects the Gravity to have a 6-to-1 sales advantage over the Lucid Air sedan.
Really? Okay.
If that comes to fruition, now you're talking about Lucid massively scaling their production, and instead of having 8 to 10,000 cars in a year, having between 40 and 60,000 cars in a year. Mm-hmm. That's going to excite the marketplace if that starts to happen.
And then you know what? If you look at the specifications of this car, the SUV, they say, will offer over 800 horsepower and 440 miles of range from a battery that's similar to the Air Grand Touring. Now, 800 horsepower used to be reserved for Italian exotics. Here we've got a grocery getter four-door SUV sedan that's doing 800 horsepower. Now, you might ask, does the urban housewife really need that much horsepower to go get groceries every day? Probably not, right?
Definitely not.
But it is a selling feature. The 0 to 60 on this Gravity is under 3.5 seconds. That's almost nosebleed speeds, blackout speeds.
Yes.
The Roadster is good for 3.7, 3.9. This is faster than a Tesla Roadster. So pretty impressive technology. And as you've always pointed out, Lucid is one of those companies that is a technological leader in the EV space.
Yes.
So there you have it, folks. Orders open November 7th, and with the configurator launching the same day, they say.
I'll be very interested to see how this plays out. When Tesla started taking Cybertruck reservations, within a few days they had a couple 100,000. Within a few weeks they had over 1 million, and that was a real boost to Tesla's stock. It'll be very interesting to see if Lucid publishes numbers, and if they do, what kind of numbers they're going to put out.
So Highlander says, Highlander still loves Lucid. Good for you. There you go. And then Facebook, D. Ray Owen says, 1 million vacant jobs? Where?
That's a good question. I'm thinking it's probably China.
It's China, yes. YouTube, Sami Kamal joined us. He says, let's go, Lucid family. I was able to pick up 403 shares of Lucid this morning at the opening bell, adding on and holding strong. Goonies never say die.
I think Sammy got a good deal on Lucid.
He did.
That seems to be a pretty low price at the 250 and below rate.
For any of you that have investigated Lucid, I was at the family event early this year because my son works there. I was at AMP1. It was a very impressive manufacturing facility. Robotics everywhere. I looked for indications of activity, and it was everywhere. There were people working there during the week, and good HR efforts with screens of people showing the people in those particular areas where they worked. And you could tell that the culture there was definitely upscale, and it was going to go places, poised and ready for the market, to respond to the market. YouTube Highlander says, let's not forget the robots at the BMW plant in the Carolinas. Yes.
Yep.
Martin Woods from YouTube says, really looking forward to Lucid putting Gravity into production. I've been an investor in Lucid since the CCIV days. That was a SPAC, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the SPAC for Lucid.
Yeah.
Impressive. And, I'm a Lucid stockholder, so what I say is my own opinion. It can't be advice, but I'm holding on to my stock.
Yeah. There's no reason not to at this point. D. Ray Owens from Facebook, he says, China, a rising middle class and a limited population. So this is the future, the robots. Yes.
Probably is.
YouTube, EV Untitled. If you guys can raise that font just one click, my eyes will be a little bit more in tune with the text, and I won't butcher up any names that way. There we go. Okay. So YouTube, EV Unedited says, even using robots to teleport to different places in seconds. He says, imagine sending a robot to a place, connecting to it from a home office to do the job remotely, and then connect to the next location.
That's a really intriguing concept because, of course, the amount of complexity in a organic biological being, whether it's us, whether it's the cats and dogs we own, it's so much more complex than the nuts and bolts and circuit boards and stuff like that of a robot. Teleportation would be much easier for a machine than it would be for a human.
And then, of course, it's warming us up to the notion that consciousness or the mind can be downloaded as well.
Yes.
So we continue here. YouTube, EV Unedited says, question, there are some companies selling extended warranties for EV that are out of warranty. Do you have any experience handling these insurers? Actually, unfortunately, yes. We're in the insurance business ourselves, have been for over 35 years with Gruber Power Services. And what I mean by that is we sell service agreements. And a service agreement is basically an insurance policy. For a certain amount every year, we will cover all events, all damage, all failures to a piece of equipment.
Hmm.
So we're very familiar with that. And when I saw one of the people in the EV industry, a smaller company, pipe up and say, "I'm going to start offering a EV battery warranty, extended warranty. After the manufacturer's warranty is done, I will continue to provide support." And it's not hard to look at the numbers and figure out whether this is going to be profitable, sustainable, and whether he's going to be underwater or not.
Right.
One of the big hurdles in the insurance business is you have to have a large risk pool in order to cost justify all of the disasters. And when you're starting out like he did, that large risk pool didn't exist. So you get 20 customers, 5 of them have disasters, and your cash flow can't support the demand, you know?
Right.
So unfortunately, that particular customer went out of business. I would say, or vendor, I would say that if you're going to be looking at any extended warranties, make sure that it is a company that has deep pockets,
Hmm.
that is successful in another area of insurance coverage,
Hmm.
and that has migrated into the space. And they may operate at a loss until they build it to a certain level. But watch out for those tiny sole proprietorships that, optimistically start offering extended warranties.
Yeah, they tend to not understand or know how much risk they're taking on, and so they don't price appropriately for
Mhm.
the risk that they're taking. On YouTube, Highlander has joined us again and says, "Stop driving up my Lucid stock. I'm the one that brought it to your attention." Ha, ha.
All right, we'll try not to do that anymore, Highlander. EV Unedited says, yeah, okay, we talked about that. And then Highlander again, excellent question, EV. I need that info to buy my used Model 3. Okay.
Sure.
Martin Woods says, Sandy Munro has asked if he should order one so he can tear it down.
Yes.
Well, Sandy, that is your claim to fame, the teardown titan. And I would say that that would probably be profitable for you based on the results of, the views that you get when you do one of these teardowns. So this may be funded. And, based on the size that you've gotten to, Sandy, it's possible that Lucid may support you and maybe not give you a freebie, but at least you will get a product placement discount or something, or friends and family discount.
Very possible. And yes, that's why I said before, he needs to order a Gravity just so he can tear it down, help educate the rest of the people on what the Lucid Gravity looks like. He did that with the Air. He's done that with so many vehicles, and it's so useful to the community to see that information.
Very much so. So again, we have another article here, and this one is from EV Top Cars. The question posed was, did you know that Norway is leading the charge toward a sustainable future with electric vehicles? We knew that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In 2023, an astounding 93% of new cars sold in the country were electric. This is according to the International Energy Agency. They say this incredible growth is depicted in a recent chart showing a rapid increase from just 6% 10 years ago. So, Norway's commitment to green energy and sustainability is paving the way for other nations to follow.
And I'm just looking up as we're doing this. I thought that this was 2024. They were saying, and it's not. It's 2023.
Mm-hmm.
August of 2024, EVs made up 94.3% of new car registrations, a world record. Model Y from Tesla is the most popular car in Norway. They have 18.8% of the market. Overall, year to date, EVs are actually down a little bit in 2024 from 2023, down to 87%.
Really? We have an image there, Jesse, that you can pop up. It's on my screen here, and this shows the graph. You can see that Norway is leading the charge. China is a bit behind them at 38% EVs. Germany, 24%, and it looks like it's tapered off in Germany. And then Europe, or all of Europe combined, 22%, and the U.S. is at 9.5%.
The U.S. has been a little slower on the uptake. Here in the United States, we've talked about this before. Electric vehicles have become a partisan issue. So it depends on your political bent as to whether you'll buy an EV or not. Kind of ridiculous, but it is what it is.
Hmm.
9.5% is the beginning of that S curve, though. That's, Norway is showing you the full S curve now, and they've topped off. It's only the laggards.
We have another image to pop up here, Jesse, and this is in line with Sammy Kamal's statement. What we're looking at here is the Gruber Motor Company subscriber count, and just before that it popped up 3 or 4 subscribers.
Well, we're up 40 since the beginning of the show.
Yes. We are heading toward 1 million subscribers. It will happen within the next 24 to 48 hours. We plan to be live during that event. We can't bring out the cigars and the alcohol because we're a family-friendly channel.
Yes.
But we may have some Martinelli's, alcohol-free champagne.
Wait a minute. I thought I had a cigar budget, so
Well, remember what happened to the guy I used to buy cigars from? They
yeah, I
shut
was just
down
gonna
his
say,
channel.
yeah, they completely demonetized his channel,
Yeah.
so we got to watch out for that.
It's the ATF stuff that you really can't do on social media anymore. So what Sammy says is let's get the likes up, everyone. Please show support for the channel.
Thank you, Sammy.
And yeah, thank you, and thank all of you, because it was really our audience that made this number a reality. All right, so moving from Norway to CATL.
Yeah, I want to draw a word picture for you and for everybody out there. Here in the Western United States, we like traveling distances. We like to drive our cars. We like to go through rural America. And as such, there are a lot of people out here in the West that are a little more hesitant to go down the EV route because there's still a lot of fear and uncertainty about if I take a drive from Phoenix through Las Vegas and the Great Basin up to Boise, Idaho, I might have 200 or 300 miles where I just don't know if I'm going to have charging at all.
There was actually a new phrase coined as the EVs began to become popular: range anxiety.
Yes.
I don't think that phrase was ever used before.
I don't think it was. And that's exactly what we're talking about, range anxiety. One of the solutions to range anxiety for people who are just not ready to take the full EV plunge has been hybrids, specifically plug-in hybrids. Now CATL, CATL, the Chinese company that makes batteries, has put out or announced a new plug-in hybrid electric vehicle battery. It has a 250-mile range for their cars. It can charge within 10 minutes, and it uses sodium ion technology, which means it can take the extra heat of that high charge voltage without compromising the battery or catching fire, because sodium ion is known to not be flammable like lithium ion is.
Amazing. So this is CATL in China, and yes, they say it could give hybrids more range than some full EVs.
It can. My wife and I own our Volvo XC40 Recharge. We love the car.
Mm-hmm.
It has a 220-mile range. We think it's a perfectly adequate range for everything that we do. This hybrid battery is a 250-mile range. And so can you just think about one person being able to, or two people, we'll say, being able to lift up and carry a battery across the room for a hybrid vehicle, and that battery has enough capabilities to have a 250-mile range all by itself. If this gets successfully implemented and installed, it's going to be revolutionary for the entire electric vehicle industry, not just hybrids.
Fascinating. So let me get another article here. There we go. So Tesla Energy is living up to Elon Musk's predictions. This article talks about the Tesla Megafactory in Shanghai, and it's on track to start shipments by Q1 of 2025. Last month, they reported that Shanghai was already 60% complete, the construction effort, passing the halfway point. Now, get this. They started construction on the Shanghai Megafactory May 23rd, 2024. So they may be completed with this project in less than a year. My take on this is you can only do construction like this in an area of the world where you are regulation free or they have sensible regulations. You try to get anything done in California, for example, or even in the state of Arizona with our burnt building, remember? What was
Oh,
it, like
yes.
3 years or something like that?
Oh, yes.
The inspector shows up. Well, I don't like this particular tiny little item here. We're busy, so I'll be back in 3 weeks to see if I can give you a green tag. And it just delay after delay after delay. The Chinese have repeatedly demonstrated that with sensible regulations and a government that is willing to promote new construction, you're going to end up with miracles like this. Now, this factory, by the way, will be completed in less than a year, proving again remarkable speed. And what this factory is doing is it is building the power or the energy storage capacity for Tesla. The energy division of Tesla, by the way, reported a record gross margin of 30.5% for Q3 of 2024.
That's remarkable.
It is. And, you know, if you think about it, it's probably because of an absence of competition. Who is Tesla really competing with in this? There are a lot of EV manufacturers now.
Right.
But on the energy sector or division, making these mega packs, I think Tesla again is dominating that market at this point.
They might be the only game in town, really. I know that there are some lead acid battery makers that are trying to promote their solution for stationary power as a possible solution for the kind of scalable power that we have here. It's not quite the same. And Tesla, all that Tesla has to say is, yeah, you can do that, but we're lithium.
Right. So this mega factory that will be completed in looks like less than a year is a complex that spans about 49.4 acres. It is situated in Lingang area close to Giga Shanghai, and it will have an annual capacity of 10,000 megapack batteries. That's about 40 gigawatts of energy storage. They will start production soon, and it will initially generate 20 gigawatts, will be the run rate, and eventually moving to 10,000 batteries or 40 gigawatts.
Unless we think that these are small numbers, we've reported previously a single gigapack can run anywhere from $1 million to $2 million.
Yes.
So and it's usually a little toward the lower end. So if I throw $1.2 million per megapack in and a capacity of 10,000 megapacks a year, that's $12 billion of revenue. And if you're talking about a 30% gross margin, you're talking about over $3 billion of profit going to the companies, probably to their bottom line, or because that's only 25%. You're almost $4 billion worth of gross margin for Tesla. Does anyone wonder now why Tesla continues to be so profitable, even when they seem like they're topping out on their cars?
Yeah, they shouldn't. Yeah, that's true. EV Tune Edit from YouTube says, by the way, I didn't mean to literally teleport, but a person remotely controlling a robot, or a machine in this case, and the connecting to another robot at a different location.
Oh, sure.
You could also use Cybercab to send them to the next job. Now, there's an interesting notion, right?
Yeah, there you go.
That's EV unedited.
EV unedited, okay.
And then Hinda Finga on YouTube, talking to EV unedited, says, like in the Matrix movies, like the guards did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Islander, come on, gang. Let's support Pete and the entire gang. We can hit this goal. It's going to happen, Islander. 24 to 48 hours. We hope you guys are there watching the crossover. YouTube, EV Tune Edit says, talking to Hinda, yes, I think Tesla doesn't need to solve AI before it can sell these robots. We could increase productivity by using robots this way, At the same time, the robot can learn to do the jobs. By the way, one of the reasons that we read the comments coming in from these various channels is these comments are not visible on all of the other platforms we stream on. So
Good
it's
point.
not like we're trying to repeat what you're saying. And these are excellent, feedback and comments. This is a collaborative effort, so we encourage this sort of thing. YouTube Highlander says, I agree. We can put the robots out now. I've been stamping most of my career, and I've been around a long time. We can use them right now, especially the tier 1s and the tier 2 suppliers.
Absolutely. He also says, watch out for ABB on the power front. They just recently gobbled up General Electric.
So another item here is Tesla just reached an impressive milestone, producing its 7 millionth electric vehicle. And I think I have a picture of that. There we go. I'm going to bring that over. And this, of course, is going to be a picture of the Cybertruck. And it was the 7 millionth car, by the way, was a Model Y, was manufactured at Tesla's Fremont factory, October 22nd, 2024. Tesla also announced this achievement during its earnings call, highlighting a rapid production growth since its millionth vehicle in early 2020. So imagine that, in a span of 4 years, 7 million. They say that Gigafactory Shanghai contributed significantly, recently producing its 3 millionth vehicle. Tesla continues to expand its EV production capacity.
Congratulations, Tesla, for that.
Yep. Well, we want to thank you all for joining us. We're going into the Tesla Roadster podcast next. One of the things we're going to talk about is we have been invited, actually some of our Teslas have been invited to a very exclusive Concours d'Elegance in Arizona. This is where the cream of the crop cars and judges from all over the world converge to give credit to automotive art, basically. And this year they decided, we can't ignore EVs any longer. These cars are, into the last century, even the turn of the century, and they're exquisite examples of restored, collectible, limited production type cars. They've decided that we need to give some credit to EVs, and the natural candidate for that was we happen to have 2 Founder Series Teslas, which are the first generation cars produced, VINs number 3, both Tesla Roadster and Model S. And what we're going to do is have those there in January at this event being judged by this panel of exclusive judges.
Fantastic. That should be a fun time.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Pete Gruber.
I'm Mark Schaffner. Take care.